Cues. Hello, thank you for joining me for another episode of Mind Cues. Today we're going to talk about how 16-year-old Virginia Gennie Christian murdered her 72-year-old elderly boss, Ida Virginia Belote. Let's get started. On March 18th, 1912, in Hampton, Virginia, 16-year-old Virginia Gennie Christian murdered her elderly employer, Ida Virginia Belote. Ida Virginia Hobbs married James Edward Wadsworth Belote, that was a mouthful, in North Carolina on November 5th, 1879. Following year, they moved to Virginia and started a family. Over the years, they had 8 children. Ida was a homemaker. James was a bookkeeper. He died of throat cancer June 6, 1911. Gennie Christian was a 16-year-old maid, also called a servant. She was also called a washerwoman. So she worked for Ida. It's weird that they kind of have the same name in common because Jenny's first name is Virginia and Ida's middle name is Virginia, so that's a little weird. It's rumored that Ida frequently mistreated Gennie. And one day, Ida accused Gennie of stealing a locket and a skirt. Ida reportedly hit Gennie with a spittoon. Now, I didn't know what a spittoon was. I had asked my husband, and he says it's a tin or metal little thing that people spit chewing tobacco in, and I just thought that was so disgusting. So anyways, after Ida reportedly hit Gennie multiple times with the spittoon, they both went running after these broomsticks that were used to keep the windows propped open. Gennie got to it first, and she hit Ida in the head with it. Ida started screaming, so Gennie took a towel and stuffed it in her mouth and held it there until she was just groaning and stopped screaming. Then she allegedly stole a purse and a ring and then took off. Ida was reportedly found by her 2 youngest daughters, Harriet and Sadie. Sadie was 8 years old and Harriet was 14 at the time. One newspaper reported that Ida's body was found face down in a pool of blood with a towel stuffed in her mouth and throat. It also said that her head had been horribly mutilated. Police arrested Gennie very quickly, and she confessed that she had hit Ida in the head with a broom, but she seemed very surprised that she was dead. She claimed she had no intention of killing Ida. So I have Gennie's confession. I'm going to read it. She come to my mammer's house that morning, and she said she want me to come and do some washing. When I come home, Mama say, Miss Belote want me, and I went round to the house. I went in the back way, and she see me, and she asked me about a gold locket she missed. I told her I ain't seen it, and I don't know nothing about it. She also said something about a skirt, but the main thing was the locket. She said, yes, you got it, and if you don't bring it back, I'm going to have you put in jail. I got mad, and I told her if I did have it, she wasn't going to get it back. Then she picked up the spittoon and hit me with it, and it broke. There was 2 sticks in the room, broom handles. She run for one and I for the other. I got my stick first and I hit her with it, side of the head, and she fell down. She kept hollering, so I took a towel and stuffed it in her mouth. I held her there till she quit hollering and just groaned. I didn't mean to kill her, and I didn't know I had. I was mad when I hit her and stuffed the towel in her mouth to keep her from hollering. I never meant to kill her. When I left, she was groaning and laying on her back. Whoa. If I was a maid for someone and they hit me with a spittoon, I'm going to hit them back. I'm not going to stuff a towel in their mouth though, so girl, you was wrong for that. So this all happened in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It was rumored that her attorneys didn't want to start widespread violence or lynching against the African Americans in the community if Gennie were to testify that she was abused by Ida. A jury found Gennie guilty of murder on April 9th, and the trial judge sentenced her to death. Gennie's mom wrote the governor a letter pleading for her daughter's sentence to be commuted. Okay, so I have the letter. I'm going to read it to you. My dear Mr. Governor, please forgive me for bowing low to write you a few lines. I am the mother of Virginia Christian. I've been paralyzed for more than 3 years, and I could not look after Gennie as I once to. I know she done an awful weak thing when she killed Miss Belote, and I hear that the people at the penitentiary wants to kill her, but I is praying night and day on my knees to God. Wait a minute. She's paralyzed. How's she praying on her knees to God? Sorry. I digress. I is praying night and day on my knees to God that he will soften your heart so that she may spend the rest of her days in prison. They say that the whole thing is in your hands, and I know, Governor, if you will only save my child, who is little over 16 years old, God will bless you forever. If I was able to come and see you, I could explain things to you better, but I can't do nothing but pray to God and ask him to help you to sympathize with me and my trouble. I am your most humble subject, Charlotte Christian. So a Chicago newspaper publicized the case, hired an attorney to intercede on Gennie's behalf. Ida had a brother. His name was Luther. Luther Hobbs was friends with the Commonwealth's attorney. So basically like the district attorney, he was friends with him and the mayor and a bunch of other bigwigs in the Commonwealth. He wrote a letter to the governor asking him to not interfere with the execution. Governor William Hodges Mann came out and said that this crime was the most dastardly in the Commonwealth's history and that Gennie's execution was necessary for public safety. 4 months after the murder, Virginia Christian was executed by electrocution by the Commonwealth of Virginia. She was electrocuted the day after her 17th birthday. Gennie was the first female to die by electrocution in Virginia. She was the last woman to be executed in Virginia until 2010, over a century later. One newspaper reported that her body was turned over to the state medical school because her parents didn't have the money to transfer her body from Richmond. So that was the case of the maid who struck back. Ida was survived by her brother Luther and her 8 children, and Ida was buried next to her husband James. So this was episode 8. 2 more will be at episode 10, and then I'm going to switch things up a bit. I'm not only going to do true crime, I'm also going to do mysteries. So I'm going to do 1 more murder, and then for episode 10, we're going to switch things up a bit, okay? Thank you for watching. Until next time, survive your mind.